Hey, so now what? Um, I don't really have any video ready for today, so I'm going to just jump right in. Clear up these old numbers so I don't use them. Here's where we are, everybody. On Railtown, we have 5.5 million shares, 3.85%. I guess that's 3.9% if you round it up. And it's even 4% if you round it up without decimals. We have over 100 shareholders that I know about, and these are the shares I know about, so congratulations. And there's John Quasson. He's been right about platinum. He's been right about platinum. Hey, so now what? And Jeff Grimm and Julie Kim. I like that. I think that's right. I always forget. I usually use this computer for my quotes, and then when I sign in, I forget to do this. But I'll be quick. Well, maybe not so quick. Maybe this will be quick. Yeah, there we go. Now, there's some trading going on. Oh, I forgot to call them about that. There's trading going on in a couple of your favorite stocks. Tesla's down 23 cents, $23, $24. I think Tesla has great AI data and batteries, but I don't know if I'd want to be in it while that guy self-destructs. I don't know. That might be a thing to avoid. But I don't know. I've always been wrong about, always been wrong. All right, I just want to get a new page. There we go. And then this WOLF, that Lion of all trades gave you sort of cryptically, that's actually up over $1 today at 233. It trades almost as high as G-Bucks. Someone's asking me to address Tony Dinero's video. Let me just write that down. I didn't watch it, but I heard about it. I will address it. He works for the shorts. And if you wanna stay in this hell, he gets paid, kickbacks, paid by the shorts. And that's a fact. Of course, it's my opinion, but the evidence is right in front of you. And he's not that bright. He's just not that smart. But anyway, I will address it. I wrote it down. Let me just go through these stock prices. G-Bucks is up at 237.9, 240 basically. Look, the volume's not there. I'm going to talk today, and maybe we'll go through each stock, but I think swapping out of each of these stocks and all of them for Railtown, if you can do it today, is what you should do. Maybe we'll have tomorrow, but we have this afternoon to do it. With G-Bucks at 240, You can buy 4, almost 5 shares of Railtown. Railtown will be $2.50 before you know it. So you have 1 unit of G-Bucks. You can buy 4.5 units, 4 or 5, 4 units, 4.5 of Railtown. Railtown will be worth, call it 4 units, 1 to 4. You make more money. And then Finger's under $2. I've been thinking a lot about Finger. I understand that the recommendation is out there to buy $3 calls for July. If somebody knows material information to give you that advice, that's not appropriate, but I'm not going to judge that. I'm not aware of any information that would make Finger motion go up. When everybody buys calls, it increases the premium in the calls so that computers owned by shorts, for example, the people that Tony Diero works for, everything on my video is opinion and my own judgment. As the premium goes up, they'll come in and buy the stock, selling the calls against it, perhaps buying puts. But that trade they'll do all day. The stock price comes up, more people pile into the stock of Finger. Finger goes up, and guess who comes in and starts shorting? We've seen it over and over again. And it's time to move on from these stocks. It's time to get out from, hey, this one's going to move. Hey, the chart's going to do this. Hey, this one's a squeeze. If you want to do that, stay in it or go down to the casino and just put your chips out on the table when they spin the wheel or on the craps table when they shake the dice. Go do that. What I'm offering you is a way out of this, and not only will, in my judgment, it all depends on your ratios of investments, but in my judgment, you'll be able to get out of the red in your account. You'll also get ahead and you'll be independent. Tony Diero doesn't care about you. He does not care about you. His buddies are trapped in Railtown and they want you to sell. And I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I'll tell you one thing. Let me just, my quote system won't give it, but if I go to Yahoo, of course, Yahoo doesn't give me what I want. All right, so I'll just type it in. Dot, what is it? CN.cn. There it goes. So Railtown is trading in Canada today for 69 cents. Now, there was some people that said, well, it's our volume. I don't know what your volume is today. I don't know that you bought any. But if you look at today's volume in Canada, it is 600,000 shares in Canada. That's not our buying. And Friday, it was 426,000 shares Friday, and it wasn't we. So this stock, if you listen to Tony, who's lying to you, and he's lazy, and he's wrong, you're gonna miss out on the opportunity that comes around in the stock market once in I don't know, 20 years. I don't see these kind of things that often. And then they get better. It's a lot like investing in an oil company for a good reason, and then they get bigger and they find more and they find more. That's what Railtown is. So But yeah, I'll address that. Djokovic won today, and it was a tense match. But up next is a young Italian that I watched a little bit of, Flavio Cobali, who's good. And the gentleman that told me about the compatriot of Ben Shelton, his name is Holmgren or something. I watched him. That guy's good. I think I could enjoy following him as he comes into tennis. And then the other guy that's very good, he lost. Well, those two lost. All three of these lost. Cobali hasn't yet. Is the guy from Brazil, João Francesca, is good. So, but right now it's just all belongs to Sinner and Alcaraz. And anyway, let's move on to the questions. Account settings. Bravo. I'm gonna keep a list of updates. 108045. Hey D Mac. Hey John. Hey Mike French. Hey Matthew Mall. Railtown is running like I said I would. It's not quite where I said it would be, but it is doing it. It's like you had to shift it 2 weeks out from what I had said. Railtown, if you want to get distracted by the hot hand, this is what these people want you to do. And I know if you had put money in WOLF, it would have been a gamble. No one knew anything about it, but you'd make 5x on your money from when Lion brought it up. So kudos to him. But you're going to make 5, 10, 15x on Railtown in very short order. And then I don't think you're going to want to sell. And I hope we can change our mindset so that we can stick it out. This ownership, if you're willing to round it up to 4% or just 3.85%, that's of the biggest number. If I used over-the-counters OTC markets number, we are at 4%. But I used Yahoo's number, which is 143,450,000 shares. We are collectively the largest institutional holder of Railtown that's published. That'll change, but we are in a very, this is significant. If we can stick together, I'm not saying everybody has their own situation, but if we can ride this out for 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years, we're going to be a big pool of capital. And if I were still at Morgan Stanley, my old office, Morgan Stanley, I'd love to have that book because then I'd be a big head honcho. But you're not under my book or you don't have accounts with me, so you can do what you want. But if we stick together, we can have some say-so and access, I think, to management interviews. Nobody gets access to inside information, but we might have first crack at maybe an offering or something. So this is really important what you guys have done. This is amazing. And as soon as the quiet period is over, I'll try to get an interview so you can hear more. But yeah, I think Matthew Mall, Railtown is about to be 62 cents. Once it breaks 62 cents, it'll double. And and it'll keep going. It'll go, you know, staggering and then go, stagger, go, stagger, go. And I want to get down through the messages, but I really was thinking about it last night when I couldn't sleep, the long weekend. I really think people should sell. It's not financial advice. You got to do your own thing. But theoretically, or as a strategy, I think people should sell everything. They should sell their GTII, definitely. They should sell their other crappy crapola, and then sell. I think G-Bucks is up today. I think it's a good chance to sell it. Now, can G-Bucks go to 15 or 20? Yeah, maybe it just goes to 10. That's 5x. But it can also not do anything. Who knows? But Railtown is going to give you 10x out of the gate. Is it 5? Is it 15? I don't know. Does out of the gate mean 1 day, 2 weeks, a month, 6 weeks? We'll find out. But it's going to be there. It's going to be there by the end of the summer. It'll be 10x, in my judgment. And then that's the starting point. That's all the horses getting up into the starting gate from whatever, $5, $6, $7, $10. And then the institutions come into Railtown. So that's why I really think people should establish their position in Railtown. And to address apparently one thing, Tony, who wants you to have no money, Diero, said that people shouldn't be putting all of their money in Railtown. I totally disagree. Totally disagree. This is all spec. Any of these stocks, and I don't know the single one Tony Diero recommends, but if he has one, if it's in the under $5 space, if it's over the counter, if it's NASDAQ, if it's a company with a CEO has a great voice and they have contracts and they have this and they're leading the fight, all that, it's all gambling. It's all speculative. It's not diversification. It's all crap. Just one is diarrhea and the other is more solid, but they're all crap. The one to be in is Railtown. Railtown Technologies AI right now is priced at 51 cents, 52 cents because the company, which was founded, I guess, 6 years ago approximately, was an idea, an AI technology idea. And they intentionally, the 2 or 3 gentlemen that started, Marwan Haddad and Corey Brandolini, they've done software development their whole career. And they've built companies that they've sold. Corey sold one to Microsoft. And hey, presto, Microsoft is their partner, their cross-selling partner. So anyway, these guys got started with their technology, the AI, it's like having a little helper on your soldier. To help with development of software, to help with debugging software, to help with keeping software smoothly running. And I can't excite you with it because it's not my space, but this product they've created solves a real issue. And they're the first to market, they're proprietary, and it's inside of each company. It doesn't get spread out across the entire internet so it can be stolen. And they're meeting tremendous, reportedly, acceptance for this product. And what happened? Well, let me finish that thought before I go off on the shorts. as Railtown got through its R&D phase, the company came in to the commercialization phase, and the company went out to show its wares. They went to at least 3 conferences, which are in the news and we've talked about. But the one that they did is the BC AI in British Columbia conference, which is a big one, the best apparently. I don't know. And they ran into a company called AI Partners. AI Partners is the real deal. This is run by guys who have handled high-tech companies, invested in them, screened in them, placed hundreds of millions of dollars in them. They're presidents and CEOs. They have the skill, and they came up with an idea in the AI 2.0 space, again, thinking ahead. Let's make a network so we can cross-sell, but also we can have these contacts. We can replicate what Constellation Software did in the rolling up these small AI startup companies. Both Railtown and AI Partners got started early, and they're ready to go. They bumped into each other at AI in British Columbia, and they got married. They met, they exchanged rings or kisses, and then they told the families they got engaged, and they've set a wedding date to merge. But before all witnesses, they're engaged. They're married. They're going to be married, and we're just waiting for that final date when they are married. And it's any day now. I'm surprised it's not today. Could be tomorrow. Could be Wednesday. And then Tony Dinero's not going to have anything to say. That's the thing about Railtown. Tony Dinero is playing off of one playbook. Ridicule, point out that there's a going concern. Oh, there's going to be dilution. He said that last time. Railtown sold less than 1%. And he calls that dilution. But they did it with a strategic investor. Let's see what that investor brings to Railtown. Railtown didn't raise money with one of Tony Dinero's sucky, fake investment banking firms that pay him off, like Lynn Partners or the Toad. And Railtown's never going to need the Toad, even though Canaccord, I believe the Canaccord is in bed with these guys. It's a lot of volume. So anyway, we're just waiting for them to announce when the wedding is, where do we go, and who should we bring, and where's the party afterward. And as soon as they announce it, Railtown's going to start trading higher. In the meantime, it's still down here in this price range. And I want each and every one of you listening to this to make a commitment, almost as if we're at an AA meeting. Up until recently, we used to trade stocks that we heard about from people on space calls, from Lion, and I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying we want to wait with it. We want done with it. From Dan Borders and Frank Benedetto and all these kind of stocks, we aren't going to trade anymore. We're going to put our efforts and our capital in Railtown. And as it lifts us out of this crap, we're never going to listen to these people again. They just mess with your head and your emotions. And at the end of the day, they're just taking your money. You know what those guys do? And this is maybe what Jennifer was concerned of with me. I don't do it. But these guys, they'll take stock in a company Benedetto does it all the time, to pitch it. Then they'll come out while they're pitching it, they'll say after 6 months, they'll sell their own stock. They're looking out for themselves. And then they'll say to you, oh, well, that stock went up. You should have gotten out. Do your own due diligence. Look, they're all pump and dumpers. And they're dumping pumpers. And they're dumpers. We got to get away from it. They have all the tricks. They have all the lies. And they tag team us. And then they come in here like Donna's friends with Lion. Lion, I think, works for the shorts. But Lion also is very presentable and comes on. I don't know why. Doesn't he have his own channel? But I appreciate it. He gave you a good trade. But if you want to trade, go trade. But if you want to create an account that is meaningful or is really big, stick with Railtown. And once it's bigger, then you can take 1% of your account, 2% of your account, and just have a little plaything over at I don't know, Fidelity, and just have 10 grand in there, 20 grand in there that you play around because you like to hear Dan Border's voice, or you like to read DeGeniero's always negative comments, but he's erudite. Well, as a surprise to no one, if you take the time to read the balance sheets of Railtown, they're a going concern. And if they're going to do this merger with AI Partners, they're going to dilute their shares, and they're going to need to raise money. Where the hell does he come up with that from? Where? They already raised some money. AI Partners has revenue of $400 million annualized. How does he know how they're going to arrange the acquisitions? He doesn't. He's just saying the same crap. And it works for most of those stocks. Because most of those stocks, you could change the name, change the CEO, change the contracts, change the website, and it's all the same story over and over and over and over again. But not Railtown. And you know what? You're going to have fun, I think. I kind of regret that there's a potential that shorts get caught out in Railtown, because I don't want it to be a trading stock. I want me to get away from the idea of a fast buck and a enormous buck that's going to rescue everything. But Railtown is that. Not fast, maybe. Well, 10X is coming quickly. It's coming down the track. Somebody just sent me. I got to see who this is. Frank Benedetto. He's out there. He's going to join in. He's going to tell you Railtown. He's saying he bought 100K at 51 cents, Railtown AI, hearing very, very good things. So now Frankie Benedetto blesses your purchase, but you've been buying it since 22 cents. Hey, Frankie's here to let you know, I know what I'm doing. Frankie gets paid off and he sells stock out before you get out. And he's just, you want to get away from it all. But hey, he's in it. And I'll bet he'll be on the space calls. But guys, do whatever you want. But please, can we make a commitment that we're not, this money we have in Railtown is going to stick? Obviously, if people need to pay bills or pay back a loan or whatever, But let's just stay with Railtown till it gives us the new starting point. But even then, if we can resist listening to guys like Benedetto, because once he sucks you in with his genius on Railtown, then he'll start talking about a company he's being paid with. And by the way, I'm not against people getting paid. What I am against is people manipulating the stock. It's illegal. He's out pitching the stock he gets paid in, and then he's selling the stock, and the SEC doesn't do anything about it. And the reason they don't is because these guys work for the shorts. They're all under the umbrella of the shorts. And they take advantage of the whales, and they all need you. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to piss everyone off. A lot of these companies, a lot of these funds are men who happen to be Jewish. And in the financial area, and you can study it, you can read about it from Jewish men, they are taught and trained early on. Number one rule, don't lose money. Number two rule, use other people's money. Those are two rules. If you stick with those two rules, you're going to make a hell of a lot of money if you live long enough. I'm not judging it. It's not everybody. It's just a certain group of. I personally have met some tough-minded Irishmen on Wall Street, but I've never heard that put so succinctly by anyone, and I heard it from a Jewish guy, that the two things I just said were taught really young, or I don't know if he meant in his own life or on Wall Street. Don't lose money and use other people's money. And what you represent and I represent, when we get trading around, obviously Benedetto's not Jewish. I'm not saying everybody involved is, but the money that comes in to finance these companies, Roth Capital, Lynn Partners, Kramer's, the Toad, they will not put their own capital at risk. They need you to juice it up. And that's why they keep moving our capital around. But if we can stay together, what is 5.5 million shares at $10? What is 5.5 million shares at $20? What is 5.5 million shares at $50? Guys, if we can stay together and they don't break us up, and we'll have a better way of communicating so it's not just me. We can have really a lot of power, and I can direct you to transactions, and I'm sure others can too, but I can direct you to how to do transactions to both protect your capital and make money. Not every single one works, but how to do it. But I'm not motivated by that pickpocket, scamming, scummy nature of these guys. But anyway, I'm sure you tuned in to hear that. Here's where we are. 5.5 million. Hey, Frank. All right, here's Sparky73. Always seems to have news on Railtown. Big news coming this week. This from a shareholder who knows the CEO. Buckle up, everyone. It's going to be a great week. And this, I want to reiterate. This stock is a stock to put your entire portfolio in right now. I mean, once it's up 10, 15x, you might do whatever you want. But right now, listen to Sparky. He seems to know what he's talking about. But, as an example, you can sell finger motion for I don't even know. It's down today. Yeah, $2. and Railtown's 52 cents, 51, call it 52 cents. So if you have 1,000 shares of Finger and you sell it at $2, you have $2,000. You buy Railtown at 52 cents, you have 3,800 shares of Railtown. That'll be $2. That'll be $3 soon. That'll be the same price as Finger Motion is right now. So you can take 1 unit of Finger Motion and turn it into almost 4 units of Railtown, and they're both going to be at the same price for in the next 2 weeks, 1 month. You know, I'm projecting, of course, but then Railtown's going higher, and so I would swap out of Finger for at least temporarily, put it in Railtown. G-Bucks is up. Clearly maybe something's going on there, but personally I would swap out of G-Bucks and get into Railtown. I would swap out of ZJYL, GDC. I would swap out of GTII. I would swap out of any of these stocks in my portfolio, and I'd go 100% Railtown. I take complete exception to what Tony, make sure you have no dinero is telling you. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's being paid, and he doesn't know what he's doing either. Doesn't know what he's doing. It's easy when all of these stocks are crap and there's no buyers, and you know the shorts are going to keep shorting, and you know you're working with Benedetto, and you're working with Borders, and you're working with the Toad, and you're working with the Kramers, and and the lawyers are all the same, and everybody is part of the fraternity to go screw Americana. Yeah, you're going to be right 99% of the time by saying, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And you know what? I'm telling you that. Everyone told us Finger Motion was going to go to 2,000. Bullshit. Everyone told us GTII was going to squeeze. Bullshit. Everyone told us CRTD was going to squeeze. Bullshit. And other stocks like Logic, I didn't think those would squeeze. But Logic got all wrapped up with this same milieu of criminals. They see us coming, and it says sucker on our forehead. Let's get out of there. Let's go to a different table where when they show up, they're the suckers. Get on board Railtown. Railtown is going to give you 10x within 6 weeks. Could it be longer? Yes. Could it be shorter? Yes, definitely. Finger could go to 1. It could go to 3, but it's not going to do what Railtown does. G-Bucks, yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad. The chart looks good. There seems to be conversations about good things. So I'm not saying G-Bucks won't go up, but you don't know. But the main thing, I want you to get out of that mentality. These are all crap stocks. Once Railtown goes to $25, $30, $40, and you keep it, we'll be able to talk about different companies. I'll be able to get you the CEO of Apache, or the CEO of Carrizo Oil, or the CEO of, might even go all the way up, an Anandarko, or these kind of companies. I'm sure maybe I can get at least the what's the word? The honorary chairman of Barrick Gold, Alamis Gold. With this kind of capital behind us, we can be a real. It'll be informal, but we can be our own investment bank, our own venture fund. And I can bring you access. I'm sure other people can. And everyone will want to come in. These lying bastards that skim off of you. Couldn't give a shit about any of you. Somebody asked me the other day, why do you care? In other words, the point I'm making right now, I don't want you selling at $5. Unless you have to, I guess you got to do what you do. And he said, why do you care? They'll be up. They'll make 10 times their money. Why do you care? I don't know the answer to that, but I do care. And it does matter to me. And I want you to succeed. I want you to have your financial security, but I also, maybe it's status, maybe it's that, but some of you are going to be extraordinarily wealthy because of Railtown, and the rest of you are going to be rich. And I guess the remainder will be well off. Even 1,000 shares, 500 shares, you're gonna have a little bit of a kick in your step as you walk down the street. But if you keep going with these guys, they just need your money to move to each story, to gin up the computers, to buy up, so then the shorting can go on, and then a bunch of rookies can come on and saying, hey, WOLF looks good. I'm not, it's just one that's moving right now. And then Tony said, well, if you actually take the time to look at the balance sheet, you see a going concern entry, and that they all have that. They all have that. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know about Tesla, but there's probably some wording inside of Tesla prospectuses that there can be no guarantee that government funding will be there for EVs, and there can be no guarantee that EVs are going to be the future of automobile, whatever. It's all there. It's always there. Tony can come in. Well, there's the risk. It's always easy to be a bloody accountant or a bloody naysayer. What's hard to do is get in the arena and win. Railtown can do the work for you. Anyway, let me see where everything's trading. Wow, it's almost 52 cents. It is 52 on the ask. And for those of you, when it was under 30, you hesitated. It's under 40, you hesitated. Under 50, you didn't get much of time, but you hesitated. Now it's under 60. I think it's under 60 today, tomorrow, sometime from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday next week, Tuesday next week, Wednesday next week. Here's my theory. On Wall Street, everyone is summering, and they're not back yet from the 4th of July holiday, nor are they here. They're going to come back midweek, maybe. They might go out again, but they're going to take a couple of days to get back at their desks. And essentially this week, next week, and the following week, that's when all the work gets done. August, everyone goes back summering. It's just bloody hard to be one of the elites. It's very difficult to be rich. So I think right now is when work is going to get done. And who knows what day. Sparky's saying big news this week. We'll find out. I don't know. Sparky, I don't know if he's ever been that specific before. But we'll find out if he's right. But I would say over the next 3 weeks, definitely, you'll never see 52 cents again. I'd be surprised if you see 60 cents again next week. That's how this may not stop at 60 cents this week, but once it breaks 62 cents, which is the all-time high, you're not, I don't think you're going to be able to buy it under $1. So here's your chance. And forget about it that it was 28 cents. Forget about it that it was 38 cents. Forget about it that it was 48 cents. It's 53 cents now. Jump on it. All aboard. Get on Railtown. All right, Andy Rose. I don't know, Andy, if I even have your name. All right, Andy Rose. That's great, Andy. So I'll say you added 10. I don't know if I even know how much you have in total, but I'll look. I have a list. Hey, YouTube user, hello, William, and all yesterday post for your head. You must be driving. Don't type while you're driving. 7,100 shares of RLAIF, bought 2,800. So you now have 99. That's great. 9,900. That's awesome. Bravo. Hey, Ryan. On the Canadian exchange, rail has 3 times the normal volume, and that's with 3 hours to go. Good observation. The tape is telling you something. This feels like the way stocks used to trade. And that's why Tony, make sure you have no money, Diero, is going to fail in his mission to shake you out. It doesn't matter what we do. This stock is going up. It's left the station. It doesn't matter if we buy it, sell it. It's going, boy. It's going. And it's going to be taken higher by Wall Street, by Canadian Street, by Toronto Street. It's going to be taken by institutions and VC firms and funds and ETFs and the big boys and contracts and AI 2.0. It's just cheap right now because it's in a quiet period. It's sitting down here like dollar bills on the sidewalk for you to bend over and pick up. And if you don't like thinking of it as a dollar bill, think of it as a $50 bill. It's a $50 bill sitting on the sidewalk. Pick it up. A to Z. Is that like alpha and omega? Let's start a fund, and instead of using A to Z, why don't we use Greek alphabet and call the various strategies an alpha, a beta, a gamma? We'll sound so smart. Hey, Steve, wow, you're getting up there. You're amazing. You're going to be, and I know you're like 47 years old, so don't quit your job. Just wait till you're 50. And we got some things to navigate, by the way. We need more information. We've got to be on our toes to be, if things change, particularly if there's a correction in the overall market. But Steve, you're going to be, for the rest of your life, you're going to be a wealthy man. And I really commend you for having the courage to act. I really commend you. You're at essentially 950,000, as close to 1 million shares as you can possibly be without 1 million shares. You're gonna be a wealthy man, and that means you're gonna have to learn about taxes and maybe trusts and things like that. But you're going to have to resist the urge to go get into Frank Benedetto's next stock. No matter how gravelly and wise he is over the space calls, it's all puffery and it's all exaggeration. It's all lying. He wants to get out of his own stock. Daniel, hurry up and buy. So it's all crap with or without the corn. I don't get the reference, but sometimes I'm slow on the uptick. Sometimes I'm slow on the uptick. Hey, Christopher. All right, so this guy wants you to go over to NAK. I would ask all of you not to dilute your investment in Railtown. Go for Railtown. Go for it. But if you want to go look at NAK, go look at NAK. Giuseppe, did you see Tony Janeiro made a anti-rail video? He's out for you keep saying social media pundit. Well, I did hear it from somebody. I don't have the time. Actually, I have plenty of time in life. That's all I got right now. But I'm not going to spend my endless hours watching a video of Tony Janeiro. I'm just not going to do it. But to me, the reason he's bashing is because the shorts are in trouble. And you know what? I hate it. I hate that there's a short position here, because that's going to complicate what we do. But let's keep going down before we talk about that. I'll try to talk about Tony Janeiro's various points and observations, which are so amateur. You know, it's like going to a poker table and Tony tells you, you know, you have to put in your ante. You go, he's so smart. That guy's smart. And he's looking out for me. Yeah, we're about to go through 52 cents in a big way. The volume today in Railtown is almost 1 million shares. That's what you like seeing. You like seeing 1 million share volume day. If social Railfront, why would they waste past? That's exactly right. Today is July 7th. G-Bucks dividend distribution. Does anyone have warrants in their account yet? I can look. And the answer? No, I don't. I think it's a little soon. The dividend would probably go to the transfer, the agent, or to DTCC. So your brokerage firm probably has it, but they haven't put it out. Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm a railaholic. Hi, Daniel. Do you think G-Bucks could run? Yeah, anything's possible. I'm hearing that third or fourth hand that people are optimistic on it. I heard there was going to be big buyers today coming in. Look out for it Monday. It's 80,000 shares. Jeff, if you own G-Bucks, what I would do, I would sell G-Bucks. It might run, as you put it. It might be the best story ever, but we don't know. Railtown is going to give you, let me break it down again. My prediction from here is 10x. That's the target I'm looking for. And I think that could happen in a day, a week, a month, 2 months. But if I had to pick one of those, I think as soon, which could be this week, next week, following week, I don't think it'll be August. As soon as they announce the merger transaction is completed, and maybe there's a delay for the shareholder vote, there's no perfect prediction. But I think the stock goes to $5. It could go to $8. But you know what's funny? Once it goes to $5, it could go to 15. It's that kind of stock. And then Tony Diero, what he says on a space call or on YouTube, is going to get overwhelmed by research from, I don't know, I'm making it up, research from Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch. I'm making that part up. I have no idea. Wherever research starts coming out as it relates to AI, we'll find out. We'll find out. So Jeff, if you buy Railtown at 52 cents, I think you'll make 10 times your money, let's say by September 1. And I'd say by within the following year, I think you could make another 10 times your money. Otherwise, in other words, by the end of next year, it could go to $52 a share. And believe it or not, and this is complete, putting all of my information in a pipe and smoking it right now, but it's possible. We don't have the information yet, but it's possible that Railtown in 2 years gets bought out by a Microsoft, an Apple, a Tesla, a NVIDIA, a AMD, an Intel. One of the AI big boys and girls, big companies, they could buy it out for stock. And guess what? I'm giving you this massive upside because I just want you to know what you're turning down. But I think it could be bought out at $500 a share. Now, is that likely? Hell, I'd be happy if it's bought out at $100. But what I'm saying is, you asked me if G-Bucks could run. I want us to leave all that mentality behind. Railtown is going to give you the best odds of 100 times your money of any stock I know about. You might have to wait 18 months, 2 years. But even then, it could give you 10x or 5x. That's what it is. And if you don't own it, you won't. Let's just say Monday. I have no idea, but let's say everybody comes back from vacation on next Monday. They announce that the deal's closed on Tuesday. So let's say Tuesday, the stock trades up to $1.50, $2. You're going to say, oh, I missed it. I think now's the time to do it. You can exchange G-Bucks right now. You can exchange G-Bucks for, well, not quite, but for 1 unit of G-Bucks, you can get 5 units of Railtown. Not quite. 4.5. Railtown will trade for more than G-Bucks by August 1. Even if G-Bucks runs, which I don't really think it's going to. I want to get away from all these stocks. I just want to get away from them. 1 or 2 of them might run, but does it make up for the ones that didn't run? As they pull your money out with MMAT, pull your money out with MMTLP, pull your money out with MULN, pull your money out with GNS, pull your money out with CRTD, pull your money out with GTII, pull your money out with COSM, pull your money out with FNGR. How much more do you want to be punished? I'm telling you, Railtown will bring your whole account green get all your money back and give you rates of return that justify all of the pain you've gone through for the last 3 years. The lessons that you've learned, if you're willing to learn them, you can put to good use with Railtown. Yes, G-Bucks could run, but I think it's a matter of indifference to me. I think you should sell G-Bucks and buy Railtown. I think you should sell Finger Motion and buy Railtown. I think you should sell every one of these and buy Railtown today and maybe tomorrow. And then when it's too late, I don't know, then we can go back to talking about G-Bucks and Finger. When Railtown's $2, I'll still think you should buy Railtown, but I won't be pounding my desk like this because you missed it. You missed the opportunity to just get a gigantic number of units of Railtown while no one else is buying it. Why are you sitting on G-Bucks? Do you think it could run? You don't have any confidence that it's going to run. And maybe I'm not getting it across to you. So you don't have any confidence that Railtown's going to go. That's a good point. All I can talk about is my own confidence. Railtown's going to 10x, maybe 15x by September 1st. G-Bucks, it could go, but it also could go back down. Finger Motion could go. If they need to raise money, which I think they will, they could do it under $1. Or they could do it at $3. Why do I have to worry about any of that? I just want to get rid of it. If I buy Railtown, you've got G-Bucks, you can buy, I don't know how many you've got. Let's say you have 1,000 shares of G-Bucks, 5,000 shares of G-Bucks. Sell it, buy Railtown. And stop listening to Benedetto and Diero and all these people. Just stop listening. Railtown soon, you won't even have to listen to me. There'll be news, there'll be research. My guess, it'll be a meme stock because it's going to be so successful. And then it gets bought out at some point. It's a one decision company. You can just live your life. But if you want to be in the hell of listening to the liars out there, it's your relationship. It's your choice. Since today is the G-Bucks dividend distribution day, can you talk about the dividend warrants? And I asked them, yeah, I am supposed to get warrants, John. I didn't get any today, but what happens on Wall Street, and it's because Bill Clinton's administration approved a change in the UC Section 8, is when you buy G-Bucks, you buy a security entitlement. So when you buy G-Bucks, you buy a security entitlement. You don't buy shares. And I think this should be disclosed to everyone, but this is the facts. When you buy stock, you're buying a securities entitlement. Why? Because the people at Goldman Sachs and other firms and Secretary Rubin got Bill Clinton to change the USCC. So you get a pro rata claim on a pool of shares. So your securities entitlement gives you a pro rata claim on a pool of shares which your brokerage firm creates, that pool of shares. Where does the pool reside? Some combination of these, the DTCC, that's where the pool is. So when you buy G-Bucks, you have a securities entitlement that gives you a pro rata claim to the pool held at the DTCC. That pool is called in street name. So if your brokerage firm is Fidelity, the shares are held in street name for Fidelity. Now, what does this allow Fidelity to do? Or Goldman Sachs would probably be a better example. So Goldman can use the pooled securities as collateral to create derivatives so they can make money on derivatives. They can leverage up that collateral in any kind of derivative form. And one of the ways they do this is with the shorts, they'll lend out stock that doesn't exist. They'll hypothecate and rehypothecate shares of G-Bucks, but they use contracts. I don't know how they do that, offsetting, and they charge fees to lend the shares out. They charge to back up delivery, all of that. And they got the attorneys. It's the same attorneys that work for all the cheaters. So they can lend out G-Bucks five times, let's say. So they can lend it out five times with contracts. That's all derivatives are. They lend it out five times. The G-Bucks, Goldman does, whatever they have at the pool with the depository trust. So if Goldman has 1 million shares of G-Bucks at the GTCC, at the DTCC, they could have hypothecated and rehypothecated it, or just lent it out 5 times. So Goldman could have lent it out, that million shares, and it shows up in Sparky's account, 1 million shares. It shows up in Anna's account, 1 million shares. It shows up in Tony's account, 1 million shares. 1 million shares shows up in Ham's account. 1 million shares shows up in William's account. Now you say, today you're supposed to receive the dividend. That's what you're saying. Well, I am certain that the company delivered I got my comma in the wrong place. Well, it's warrants they're delivering anyway. I'm sure the company delivered their 1 million warrants to Goldman Sachs in street name. So Goldman has received from the company, as of yesterday, 1 million warrants as a special dividend. And they have it in their back office. But the problem is you're asking for yours. Well, all you have is a securities entitlement. You don't own shares here. So you have a pro rata claim on the 1 million. This gets complicated in court because it depends on the derivative contracts written. But the counterparties to each of these have first claim on this million. So this is why the whole thing is a ticking time bomb. But as long as you can kick it down the road, get people to trust it, that's the role of a Tony Diero, by the way. So here, this million warrants is sitting at the DTCC in street name for Goldman Sachs. They have it. But to distribute it down here, how do they do that? How do they do that? And that's what they're trying to figure out. The answer is they stall. Just like Morgan Stanley did with GTII, in my case, for example. They know these 5 people, if they can just get them on the phone, delay, stall, these 5 people will wait. And if Ham wants to sell his, their only obligation at the time Ham wants to sell is to convert his million shares into 100,000 shares of G-Bucks at whatever the thing is. This is what was going on with Finger before the squeeze got stopped. They just have to go borrow it, go buy it, and sell that for him. As long as the other 4 people aren't doing it, it's not as big of a problem as if they self-immolate now. They're not going to create their own problem by saying we have too few warrants and let's go buy it in. They'll wait until whatever the process is. So Tony has to call in and say, hey, I want to fill out the paperwork. I want to get my shares, and they'll delay and delay and delay. It's the whole idea of fractional reserve banking. Nobody comes in and asks for everything at the same time unless there's a run on the bank. What's going to cause the run on the bank at G-Bucks? I don't think anything. This is the strategy to catch out the system. I don't see how it catches out anything, because Goldman's not going to do it to themselves. And if all 5 people come in and ask for their stock to sell it at the same time, Goldman's going to say, hey, it's restricted. We've got paperwork, and they'll do it. They'll do it on a rolling basis. I just don't see how it works. Anyway, those are my thoughts on it. I'm not surprised that the dividends are not in your account, because they would just be essentially an entitlement. And I'm not sure, and maybe you have some ideas, I'm not sure that that would be legal. It's not a stock loan type thing. It's not a hypothecation type thing. So they know that it says 10%. When you break it down to what their real obligation is when John or William wants to sell their newly available shares, they have to be able to do that. And then it's just, ultimately, it's not even shares, it's just cash. So anyway, those are my initial thoughts. I can hear the train a-comin'. It's coming round the bend. And I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. But I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. That's where I'm going to die. I hear that lonesome whistle, and I hang my head and cry. When I was just a small boy, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, never play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. This stock is a stock to put your entire phone in, are strong words. Those are strong words. Those are strong words. That's how I feel about it. Now is the time to do it. I think you have today. We have tomorrow. We have tomorrow. I can't remember the song. But anyway, we have today. We know about today. I don't know if you're going to have a chance to do it tomorrow. We have 2 hours to add to our Railtown. And you should put everything in it that you can stand to put in. I ripped the Band-Aid off and took a small loss in finger. All right, Matthew, that's awesome. I'm writing that down. That apparently Tony said in his video that you shouldn't, Galavan, that you shouldn't put all your money in it. Well, there's very few times that you should do that, but as Warren Buffett said yesterday on the video I played, or as William O'Neill would say years ago when I signed up for whatever conference call he had, or read his newspaper, read his book. If you want to do average, go listen to Tony Diero. In fact, you'll do worse than average. But if you want to excel in your performance in your portfolio, right now is the time to own Railtown. And I see no reason to own any of these other stocks. If you're in this speculative area of stocks, Railtown outshines them all. Outshines them all. Would you swap out of that? And the problem with selling NWBO is it's so suppressed. But yes, I would. That would be one that I might consider buying back later. But Galadan, what's NWBO going to do in the next 90 days? Probably this. We don't know. At some point, it could have a buyout, and that's the risk. That's the risk. But what's it going to do realistically in 90 days that it hasn't done for the last few years? Probably not much. So, and when I say 90 days, I don't think it's going to take 90 days. I'm trying to be conservative. It could take a week or 2 weeks. But I think Railtown is going to give you 10x, 15x. It could be $5, $6, $7, $8. Well, if that happens, one thing you could do is borrow against your Railtown to go reestablish Northwest Bio as a position in that account. And if Railtown ever sold off, you could resell Northwest Bio to cover the debit. But you'll have the ability to do things. I think Railtown will be a $10, $15 stock, and you don't have to sell any Railtown to buy back Northwest if that's what you decide to do. You can do it off a margin. I wouldn't go heavily on margin though when it's up there, because the shorts will try to make it volatile, so that when if they can sell it off and you have a margin call, you're forced to sell. So I wouldn't do it with a high, like I'd do maybe 5 or 10% of that position. But Galadan, you can take losses in Northwest Bio. 31 days from now, you can buy it back. But Railtown's going up as we talk. It's 52.5. It's now 53 cents. It's going to be 60 cents before you know it. That's going to be 70 cents. That's going to be $1. That's going to be $2. That's going to be $3, $3.50, $4. And then at $5, it's going to jump to $10 or $15 because institutions come in. So yes, I would sell Northwest Bio and buy. Now's the time to own Railtown. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If we're given those days to buy it, now is the time. One of these mornings, we're going to see news, early hours, that the deal's done. And then I can't promise you're ever going to see the price of Railtown at 50 cents or 60 cents again. And that scares the shit out of Tony Dinero's paymasters. But anyway, all right, let's keep going on. Brandon Neely is about to do what Wolf did this week. Only difference, Rail's a solid long-term run. Yes, Brandon, I think that's a good summary. I didn't know the story on Wolf, and that's a good lesson too. Just because Wolf is up doesn't mean it was the wrong decision to say, you know what, I'm going to stick with Railtown. Why? Because Wolf didn't have to work. Think of all the stocks we've gotten in that didn't work, or once we're in it, as soon as we're in it, boom, they do a deal and it crashes back down. It's all unpredictable. Railtown, what's his name? Tony Diero can't do anything to Railtown. His puny tricks don't work with Railtown. He's going to try to FUD you and scare you and try to not buy, and then Line of All Trades going to come in and say $5 is a win for retail, hoping you get out because they don't want you to hold on to Railtown. Now we're going to have a tough decision. We're going to have a tough decision. Let me give you an example. According to Twitter, AI Partners in February had an annualized revenue of $400 million. The person who put that up deleted that. That's revenues for AI Partners. Now, AI Partners is being purchased by Railtown. But to translate this is 400 million revenue is the 165 companies revenue. They're a part of a network, so it's individually their revenue. So if Railtown buys AI Partners, which is what's in process, and then they take over the business plan of AI Partners, which is in the press release, that AI Partners' whole goal is to buy up the network companies and roll them up into the parent company. Roll them up into the parent company. Now Railtown's going to do that. So if we assume that Railtown is going to buy, let's say, 10% of the companies for, I don't know, 70% of the revenue, that means they're going to buy 16 companies. Let's call it 15 companies. And 7 times 4 is 28, 280 million. Now, I don't talk to anyone. I have no idea, but my guess is the reason it's taking so long is this is what they're doing. There's 165 companies making 400 million. They're going to buy the best 15 of them. Maybe they're buying the best 5. Maybe they're buying the best 30. I'm just giving you conceptually what's going on, I believe. But they buy the best 15. They organize it before they announce the acquisition. And those 15 have 280 million in revenue. Now, Tony says, well, they're going to need to raise money. Well, what does he know? He's making it up. He's making it up. So if they are doing this, if you look at Constellation Software doesn't issue any shares. They don't issue shares, or very few. So they have a mechanism somehow to make their acquisitions without issuing shares. I don't know what that mechanism is. It could be that they set up another entity that they acquire companies with, and then a percentage of the revenue flows through to Railtown, or they acquire these companies, they commit to put up conductor and know-how and management and maybe money in exchange for a revenue split. We'll find out. I just don't know. So if it's 280 million they're buying, what should we say they keep? They split it 50-50? I think that's probably right. So they keep 160 million in revenue net. And right now, for AI companies, people are paying 50 times, 100 times that. But I showed you historically, the average is 26, the low end is 12. Let's just use 12 times this. A multiple of 12 times 160 million times 12. That's $1.92 billion. $1.92 billion. It's 400 million in revenue. I discounted it because they're only buying the top bit, and then I cut that in half because I don't know how they're doing it. And I mean, another way, maybe they're doubling the amount of shares outstanding. But this is to allow for however it's split. I'm only using a multiple of 12 times, which is really conservative. So you come up with almost 2 billion in market value of the combined company, and you divide that by, they have 140 million shares outstanding. Let's divide it by 200 million shares. That gives you a target of $9.60. And in my opinion, that's out of the gate. That's out of the gate. If you want to discount it by half, gives you a target of $4.50. If you want to discount it by 2/3, gives you a target of $3.20 once this deal's announced. And right now it's trading at 50 cents because nobody can buy it and nobody knows the information for sure. But it's in the press releases. All you have to do is think about it. Now it's 54 cents bid, 54.55 ask. Let me keep going. I know you won't say it, so I will. Macron's wife is a man? No. Ham is, oh, I don't want to read that out. Bill Myko. Yeah, I think it's funny you say that, Bill. I don't know if you just use godsend as as an expression. But for my own situ and my own outlook, it sounds so corny, but when I turned on my computer to go live, 3.5 years ago on the porch, I didn't know what I was doing. And I think it was, I'm sorry to sound corny, I think it was God that put that impetus or that in my being to do. And what's funny, Bill, and I don't want to connect it. I hate when people come out and put everything on the Bible. I'm not trying to do that, but I do think that this Railtown is heaven sent, to put it in a vernacular. For me personally, I think God may have directed it our way. And for people, I know a lot of people don't listen to me anymore because of whatever, and I'm not perfect. But for the people who are listening, I think we are being given a path out of the ditch we got into, and we fought it. I fought it. I educated myself. I went to Congress. I've read, and I've decided there's no way to fight those guys. There's no way. No one's going to do anything about it. So we have to do it ourselves instead of being victims. And this is it. This is the action we can take with the best reasonable chance of success to pull ourselves away from just the crap, the noise. You know, if you were walking down Fifth Avenue and it's late at night and off by I'm trying to remember which street that is. That's not Fifth, that's Avenue of the Americas. But as you walk underneath, around the Pan Am building, whatever it's called now, and you get in that dark portion there, and you saw a scrum of people in a fight, like 200 people, are you going to go join it? Or are you going to retrace your steps and maybe go around the whole building from the other side? That's what I'm saying. Let's just walk around the scrum. Let's just get the hell out of. I don't ever want to deal with or know about any of these people anymore. Hey, Lawrence B. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Pizza Rules. I don't have G-Bucks in my account. Oh, well, you can't sell it. Now, unless you're a short. If you're a short, you could sell it. But if you don't own it, you can't sell it. 54 cents on the bid, 54.01 by 54.32, 21,995 to buy. But the ass keeps moving around. It's all spoofing. And these are things you've learned. And you can use them to your benefit now. It's all spoofing. It's all trying to get you to think there's real sellers. There's nobody selling. You know, I have it on pretty good authority, and I wrote it down. And I did some of my own calculation, but I have it on pretty good authority. Talking to people I know. Yeah, what do you have on your authority? I guess nothing. I guess I can't find it. Anyway, I think that it's in the filings. I think insiders own about 22% of Railtown. But I think our little group owns, let's call it 4%. So combine those are 25. But I think there's a group out there that my friend knows, I can't find it, who own 50 million shares. So none of those people are selling. Who's selling? It's all fake. It's all fake. So that's the advantage you have right now. Not only is it in a quiet period, these idiot shorts are still selling stock. That'll stop as I'm telling you, as soon as this stock goes to 5 or 10, it's going to stop. And all those things we've heard about before might happen here, which I don't want them to. But if they do, we got to be ready for it. Well, I'm not going to comment on all that, except I agree. Railtown's the one to stick with. It really is. Let's not get shaken out of Railtown. Hey, June. I truly appreciate the charts and graphs you've been showing all along. They learn That's very kind of you. I wish I had a better setup so I could, and I will at some point. I will at some point. And maybe I can get Kristen, or is it Kirsten? I always forget. Maybe I get somebody like she, or I don't know if Anna's good at it, but uh, someone to help me do these presentations. I don't think you have to be in the same time to get the help, but I surely need it. But you got to pay for it. You can't just use somebody's time for free, you know. So I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm just not there yet. The guy that called Wolf here at 40 cents. He did. I mean, I give him credit. But he knew something. He said the charts look like a squeeze. Well, or he said it looks like a squeeze. I guess I'm the one that looked at the charts. And the charts didn't say anything. So he must have known something's going on. How does he know? He works with the shorts. Guys, they come at you. They're your friends. They come in and they're in the space calls and they get to know you and they appeal. We're all lonely. We want friends. We want to help. Or they come in angry, or they come in as the leader, or they come in to fight, or they come in to ridicule, or they come in as if they're the avenging knight and a person like me is here to screw you. But they come in all different manners and ways. Why should we spend our life trying to figure out who they are? Let's just get out of it. Let's just get out of it. If you can, the problem is if you only buy a little bit of Railtown, it's not going to help you. You have to commit. But if you can commit, when Railtown is valuable, your account will be valuable. The only thing you have to change is your brain and your electricity so that you're not gambling. Because trading these stocks, hey, this one's got a short squeeze. Hey, this one's going to have it. Hey, it's all telling you guys. That's bull market stuff. That's bull market stuff. And the bull market is coming to an end. First, a little chi-chi. But after the excitement, the bull market's coming to an end. And most of those guys are going to have to drive taxi cabs. Unless AI drives the taxi cabs. Then those guys will have to go work as software developers. Unless AI does that. Those guys will have to go work on a trading desk. Unless AI does that. Those guys are going to have to go represent firms, unless AI does that. Wait a minute. Are those guys going to have a hard time doing what they do from now on? But if we stick together, we've got 5 million shares, 5.5 million shares of Railtown. We're going to be our own. We're going to be our own fund. We're going to be our own collection of capital. Clack of capital. Clack of clever capital. All right, PJ, sold more finger, bought. All right, PJ135. I got to write that down. You're doing the best thing. You're doing the best thing. You won't regret it. In my judgment. Hey, Colby, do I think we see a pullback? No, no, I don't. I don't see a pullback coming. I do not see a pullback coming. Eventually, nothing goes straight up, but not here. Not here. I'll tell you how I see it. Tomorrow it'll be 60 cents, maybe 70 cents. Friday or Monday, end of the week or beginning of next week, I could see this at $1.50. If I'm wrong, takes another week. But that's how quickly it's going to get. And I think at $1.50, it's cheap. At $1.50, it's going to be cheap. Yeah, I'm going to tell people, if people ask me, should I buy it? Yes. When it's $2, when it's $2.50, it's going to be cheap. But by then, I would imagine by then we will start getting information from sources who are precluded from talking right now because it's a quiet period. So that's going back to the other gentleman's question. That's why I'm saying, yes, now's the time to act. Now's the time to own it. If you want to lighten up after it goes to 5, you can. But I think I've been as clear as I can. I think that you're going to regret that. You're going to regret that. And, Tony will come in to try to scare you out because he's got to help his buddies. And these other people will try to, just like with COSM. And now, Cindy Lou Who, oh, you're blaming a dead man. No, I'm calling out what happened. When those stocks were going, in came Frank Benedetto, Lou Bravo, and the CEO of COSM. Everybody raced over there. I don't want you to do that this time. Don't race out of, hang on to it like it's the last stock you'll ever own. Hang on to it like it's the inheritance from your grandmother. And the only way you get it is if you own it for 18 months. Please, don't let them shake you out. They're good at it. They're good at lying, bullying, cajoling, being a friend, ridiculing. They're good at the whole thing. They're devils, or they're behaving like devils anyway. Hey, Ted Williams. Let me write that down. Good job. You're another one. All you guys that own over 50,000, you guys are going to be the nouveau riche. At least in our world, you're going to be the nouveau riche. And you're going to say all the wrong things. When you go to restaurants, they're going to look over as you take over the entire corner, and they'll say, oh, that's the new money. PJ13, all right. So that's his account. PJ135 hubby owns, all right. You were gross. Did I say that? Gross. Diarrhea of the mouth. All right, so now what? So you have 17,000. Awesome. Tony has no dinero, says there's no shorts in Railtown. Well, Tony has no dinero is about to find the surprise of his life. He's either lying, lazy, or ignorant, or all three. There are shorts in Railtown. Where's he coming up with that? I've shown you the numbers. It comes from Tom Ronk. Now, I would agree that Tom Ronk's numbers seem to be simply adding up the Reg Show FINRA numbers. But my understanding is Tom Ronk's team now buys the data directly. And so they get more information than what we think they get. But I would agree that we don't really know the exact short position. But Ted, according to Ronk's numbers, which I've shown you as middle of last month, it's essentially almost 41 million short. Cut it in half, 20 million, cut it that in half. But I don't want to get caught up in whether it's a short play or not. Because I'm not talking about Railtown to be in the short game at all. The only thing is we have to be aware of, if the shorts get in trouble, the stock is going to move upward very quickly. Then we might have to face a choice. Do we sell and try to buy it back lower? And we only have an hour left right now. I don't really want to go through that thought process in too much detail, but now, because it'll just take time, and it's just, it's just spitballing. But let's say the shorts had to cover and rail went to $30. I'm not predicting that, please. I'm not predicting that. I'm not telling you this is a short squeeze play. But we have to be aware, because there's a short position, it could happen. Well, should we sell at 30? With what I know right now, I would say no. But we'll learn more information. That's the best thing. I don't think we have enough information. But if it went to 150, which I'm just making it up, I'm not predicting that. Of course you would. But there's somewhere in between where the decision gets difficult. The reason right now I wouldn't sell if it went to 30, other people tell me they would, but I wouldn't, is even if it pulled back to 20, there's no guarantee that you'd get back in. You might have your price too low, or an institution comes in and all of a sudden it's 35. I would rather, this is a stock which we'll learn more about over the next weeks, and we can start filling in some of the numbers with revenue and multiples and targets. But let's say your target is $25 and you have 100,000 shares. It's $2.5 million. Now, why do you care? Once you have that, this is the point I'm trying to make. Railtown, once it's worth that much, it should always be worth that much. Absent some sort of war or asteroid or flood, and I pray for all those people in Texas. But some act of God that just changes our whole society. When Railtown gets there, it should stay there. It's not like these other. So if you have 100,000 shares of Railtown and it gets to 25, on its way higher probably, what do you care if that happens by the end of the year, by the end of next year, by the following summer, when once it does happen, that's you. That's you. Maybe at first we want to buy some puts against it. So if it pulls down, we protect that. But that's you. And my point is, this is not a stock like Finger goes to 9 and comes all the way back to 1. It's not a stock like GTI goes to 9 and goes to 0. It's not like MMTLP that goes from 80 cents to, I don't know, $12 or something. For me, $8 then when I got in, and then is worthless. That's not this situation. This stock is going to go to something on its way higher, and that's going to be your account. It's hard to accept. If you bought 100,000 shares of Railtown, I don't know, it's cost you 50 grand. and you sold a bunch of these other things that you're worried are going to run or whatever. Well, they may run, they may not, they may go up, they may not. But if you have 100,000 and it goes to $25, let's say by the first quarter of next year, during the first quarter of next year, let's say in 9 months, it goes to $25. That's your account now, 2.5 million. If you don't get in the games with Frank Benedetto and Tony Diero and you resist the urge to trade with the lion of all trades and you don't listen, I mean, Avid is good at what he does, but you just don't listen to any of it because you don't have the time. Let them do that. Let them build up their following. But if you have 100,000 shares, it's worth 2.5 million. That's your account for the next 10 years, 20 years. Look at Constellation Software. Went from $1 to 5,000. Now, in the background, I have to figure out, I'm not ready to yet. I think the stock market's going to go to blow off highs. I read to you yesterday that one thing Trump's doing is trying to blow up the bubbles even bigger. If the financial bubble collapses, everything will go down. Everything will. So we've got to navigate that down the road. One thing is buying puts. One thing is buying silver, maybe on margin. One thing is maybe NVIDIA buys the company and then we don't have a decision to make. We just own NVIDIA shares. And even in a market crash, it may not last that long. It could be 9 months, a year and a half, and then it rallies. The new leadership will rally. It's the overall market may not get back to its highs, but that new leadership will lead for the next 10, 20 years. And that, I believe AI 2.0 is in that category. I certainly believe gold and silver and platinum miners, oil and gas companies, resources, iron, all these things are going to be, there's going to be a bull market in a lot of industries and stocks. It's just, and then they'll change the index. They'll change the Dow to reflect the companies that are going up. So the correction probably in dollar terms won't necessarily last that long, but I do think it's going to be severe. But let's just cross that bridge when we get there. Sorry, YouTube user. Yeah, I got you down. YouTube user 9,900. I got that. It's awesome. Awesome. Phil Haynes. That's great, Phil. That makes me think of that guy with Jack Benny, but was that his name, Phil Haynes? The guy that was on his singer? That's awesome. 1,000 shares is excelente. Oh, Jim. Yeah, I wrote that next on my list. I put Jim next to you. Gary May Dill. 10,000 is a perfect position. 10,000 can change your situ. Julie, she's going to be one of the wealthy ones. 151. That's an incredible amount. I'm going to be on the sidelines cheering for all you guys. That's incredible, Julie. Congratulations. Ted, another 150. Wow. Another guy, another person with 150. That's incredible. Yeah, I put YouTube user, I put Jim next to your name on my list, so don't worry, I have it. Justin, 14,000, that's excellent. Bravo, no bravo, no bravo, no bravo. Swap my pot for a train. That's great, Dan. I think that's great. 2.3 thousand is great. And hopefully you're willing to hang on to it. Believe it or not, we're not there yet. I am starting to throw out the bigger numbers longer term because I don't want people shaken out. But 2,300 shares could be worth 230 grand in a, not that long in our, the longer I live, I realize 1 year goes by very quickly. All right, Dan M. That's great, Dan. I think 2,300 is great. I don't know if you're making fun of me or you're joining in, but I get your point. I'm being a little bit of a carny, a corny carny. Hey, Sada Aman. Good to see you here. And I know I've been all worked up, but I'm proud of you, and I think you're going to be very happy shortly. Chess night. So I don't know your total, but that's awesome. I'll just write that you're adding. That's awesome. I think there's going to come a day where we're not going to be able to add any more at these prices. It'll still make sense to add, but it won't be the bang for the buck. Wow, Babcock family, that's a big number. I'm starting to think we might get to 6 million, which would be also a big number. Yeah, I got the Jim YouTube user because you told me before. I wrote it on, I put it in a little column next to it. Yeah, Justin, I'm E-Trade or Morgan Stanley. 2 business days show up, a brush off. But corporate action was notified. Yeah, they're probably just going to give us essentially an IOU in our accounts. And then when it comes time to exercise them, that's when they'll do the song and dance on it. But it's good. I'm glad that those guys are doing the G-Bucks guys are doing it. It's a way to gum up the criminals. Ryan Sartell, 18 months or whatever, making a commitment to hold my shares and let this unfold. Bravo. And then the only thing we've got to worry about is the only thing we've got to worry about is if there is, I hope there's not a squeeze. We might have to make some decision during that. But let's cross that bridge when we get there. I hope there isn't a squeeze, frankly. 15,000 is pounceable. Ted Williams is another. Wow, it keeps going up. He's another. If I were a rich man. Bum, 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 bum. All day long, bum. If I were a wealthy man. If I were a rich man. That's good job, Scott. Railtown is up. It's 54.79 by 54.84. I have a feeling, wow, this keeps changing. You're doing great, Ted. You're doing awesome. 157,900. And then now's the time to do it, Ted. You're going to be so happy that you did. Kenneth Martin. 11,000. Oh, I'm so happy for everybody. That's great, Kenneth. I'm so happy for everybody. I'm so happy. I sold everything. I don't speak diversification. Well, you only marry one woman. I mean, why not marry one stock? 5401. I don't know if it went off. Let me look. Because that was a while ago, I think. Yeah, I don't have it on my... If it happened, I don't have it on my run. I would just sell G-Bucks and buy Railtown today. There's going to come a day you can't buy Railtown at these prices. Could be tomorrow. Could be Wednesday. Could be Thursday. Could be Friday. Could be next Monday. Could be next Tuesday. I don't know, but it's coming. And then for the rest of your lives, you will not be able to buy it at 50 cents, 60 cents, 80 cents, $1. And that's why I'm being so annoying. That's awesome for us. That's awesome. 10,000 is the perfect number. 10,000 is the perfect number. Andy Rose, 80,000. Another great number. You guys are gonna be, I'm gonna have to call each of you ma'am and sir. I hope so, Brandon. That's my goal. I'd like all of you to be independent. I'd like, we'll navigate it. So I guess the interviews you had with Martin were a waste of time? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, but and I like Martin very much, and I like the investors. I spent a lot of time on it. Look, Cam decided to break off, which is fine. Everybody's their own life. But I've been thinking about Finger, and it's all stuff I've talked about live. And I think one of the reasons, David, that I can't make things happen. I can't. There's no reason to stay in something and dream if it didn't work out. The original reason you get into something is the upside. But as execution and time goes by, at some point you have to look at it and say, for me, I lost my money in Finger Motion, a lot of money, hell of a lot of money. So it's not like I saved my ass and pulled it out before anybody else. I just got wiped out. But here, David, let's go through Finger, since you feel like it's important to talk about it with 45 minutes left on Railtown. That's all right. We'll talk about Finger. Okay. What does Finger have? They have a new presentation, which they gave to Roth Capital, which I can't remember where I put it, but I can give you, later on tonight or tomorrow, I'll bring it out and we can go through it. But they did one thing that was really good. They've broken it down into 4 areas. They used to have 6 or 7. It's now down to 4. And I think 4 is too many, but it's better than 6 or 7. So Finger needs a simpler story if it's going to catch hold with Wall Street, the big institutions. But 4 is good. 4 is good. What I remember is it was the top-up business. It was the messaging business. Maybe those were together. Top-up and messaging were together. It was the lifestyle app, Jiju or something. And then it was the big data, Sapientus, which includes the potential for the insurance companies. And then it was the C2 contract. So that was good. Their presentation was very good. So David, I did the interview with Martin, I think in November. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of last year, the fourth quarter of last year. And what is very exciting about Finger is that team. I think Martin's terrific. And the potential that the fourth quarter would, I'll just give at the time, the positives, the potential that the fourth quarter would turn positive, although there was no guarantee about it. And that this year that we're currently in would be positive in terms of earnings. So the fourth quarter would give us an indication on this year. That's one. 2, the C2 contract. The C2 contract was listed in the press releases as being exclusive and for the entire country. Gigantic. It's just a powerful, powerful thing. And then 3, of course, the progress made on the science, really, the labs that the insurance companies have set up for data for issuing insurance. Obviously, the top-up business pays the bills, and I don't care about the lifestyle app. Doesn't turn me on. So anyway, those things are all terrific. And I've been saying here for a long time, I said that the dividend was going to be delayed. Great blowback to me. Here we are in June. I remember back last year saying it would be July, August, best guess September. And we still don't have the dividend, but everyone jumped down my throat. I said that Finger Motion this year would go from maybe you could get a trade. I said that in January, maybe February. But I said, I think that it's time to trade it. I think you can get 2x, 3x, 4x on this stock. Maybe it goes to $5, $6, $7, but I think that, and you know what, it happened. But I got a blowback when I started saying, I think you should sell calls. I think you should sell the stock instead of buying. But then I said, while it was going up, I think the company's going to raise money. And everyone jumped down my ass because, only the shorts say that. They're not raising any money. They exercised warrants. And I said, well, I don't know why the toad would exercise his warrants when he's using it as a hedge against his derivative product that he sold to the company. But anyway, I said, all right, maybe they did that, but I haven't seen any announcement about that. That's a good thing out there. If they got that $7 million, that's great. But I haven't heard anything about it Then I suggested that I thought what would be beautiful for Finger Motion is to do a joint venture with SAIC. Well, they did announce a joint venture with a different group. Okay, I guess that's good. But then, David, I can't prove that my sources of information are great, but just indications out of China, there's 160 car manufacturers in China. They're all very low margin. They're highly competitive with each other. China is a growing automobile manufacturer and supplier, but they're in this pricing war to win market share, and I don't know how it's going to end. But I know one thing. One of the biggest automobile companies, this company BVD, the electric vehicle company, that's showing apparently 5% profit margins, which may be cooked books, but it's double, at least double, what the other automobile manufacturers are making. And it's exciting but you know what? Their suppliers, their deliverables aren't being paid. They're taking 9 months, a year and a half to pay anybody. I don't know if that translates to SAIC or it translates to this new company they joint ventured with, or if it's going to be difficult to collect money on these C2 automobiles. I don't know. But it's something to put in your head. I understand that Chairman Xi, and I'm willing to trust the information I've heard and seen. I think Chairman Xi's going to be out of power. Does that put a risk on the contacts that Finger Motion has developed? I don't know, because if he's out of power, maybe, the right general goes in or the right woman goes in, or I don't know. But these are some fluctuations that I cannot attest for. So in the short run, David, I think G-Bucks is 100 times better than Finger Motion as an investment. In the long run, I think, Railtown. I think Railtown is much better. In the long run, I think Railtown's better. But that doesn't mean I don't think Finger Motion can do a great job over the next 2, 3, 4 years. But I think there's real risk in Finger Motion. And I'll tell you what it is. This is something else I talked about live many times. I think the toad, Moez Kassam, he bought something like, I don't know if it was 90%, but he bought the majority of the last deal that Finger did through Roth Capital. And I believe he was turning on the machines to buy the stock, which sucked in retail, sucked people buying calls, so that he could start shorting the stock. And then he could call up Roth Capital and say to Finger Motion, we'll give you $30 million for 15 million shares or 12.5 million shares. And I do think that's what was going on. But ironically, David, I actually think Finger, if that did happen, I think Finger should have taken the deal. Why? Because the stock was trading at 5, do a deal at 3, or stock's trading at 4, do a deal at 3 or 275, bring in a bunch of money, and then you can survive and thrive for 2 or 3 years. Instead, they did a small deal that's not going to last very long. And they're going to have to go back to market for money. Who are they going to turn to for money? Hopefully, the same insider investors will come in. But David, you ask yourself, do those investors come in and pay more than what the stock is trading for? I've never seen them do that. The stock's $2. If they come in again, do you think they'll do it at $3 or at $125 or $150? I think, which is fine. I'm not arguing. They want a discount to the market price. But I think Finger's going to have to raise more money at some point. And I think it's a push. Whether that raise will be at much higher prices than here, there's a risk it's going to be at lower prices. That's with friendly investors. What if they have to go to Roth Capital again? The stock's at $2. Do you think Roth Capital is going to do it at $250? Last time Roth Capital did a deal, Finger Motion was trading at $286, and they announced the deal at $1.50. So I think that's a risk. All right, so I think there's a risk of financing. The other risk I see with Finger Motion is kind of processing. Why didn't they raise a lot of money? The stock was $5. Roth, the Toad and Roth Capital probably could have given them 10, 15, 20, 25 million at a discount to that market price, but it looked good now. Why didn't they do it? I don't know the answer. But it could be that that C2 contract is not exclusive, is not the entire country, and that and one of their announcements said they put in a tender. Well, if they have to put in tenders, then it's not exclusive. So that C2 contract at a minimum is going to be stretched out. It's not, in my judgment, they didn't raise enough money. The C2 contract isn't going to bring money to the bottom line quickly enough to change the trajectory of the stock price. That's fine. Maybe they want to do it slowly, build it out, take 18 months, 2 years. That's fine. But I don't see now a rapid rise in the C2 contract. Why didn't I say that back in December? I hadn't seen the annual report. I said, you got to wait for the annual report. You got to wait for the fourth quarter. You got to wait for the annual report and see what the management discussion says. It didn't say anything. And then they didn't raise much money. So I'm concerned that the C2 contract is not going to have as dramatic an impact to the bottom line and Finger Motion as we thought it could right away. That doesn't mean I don't like the group. I don't like the opportunity. I don't like it longer term. But David, if you're going to ask me if I wasted my time interviewing Martin, no, I'm not saying that. But if then you're going to ask me, well, you better just be a loyal team player and hang on to Finger Motion right now. I told one woman 2 weeks ago, she had Finger at 350. I said, why don't you sell it at 350, 1,000 shares? You can buy 10,000 shares of Railtown. I don't think she sold it. Now she's sell her Finger at $2, and she can't buy anywhere near that amount because Railtown's doubled. It's about making money, David. It's not about being loyal to a stock. And I think right now, Finger Motion is going to go sideways until they have something big that can give them an S-curve growth in revenue, and I just don't see it. And they need to raise money. So yes, I think Railtown is 100% better than Finger Motion right now. Does that mean I don't like Finger Motion? No. But let Railtown go to it. Let Railtown seek its level. Let it go to $5, $10, and maybe by the end of the year it's $20. Once it's there, I can revisit Finger for my portfolio. I can probably buy the same amount of stock for just 5% of my portfolio. Anyway, that's my thinking on Finger. It's not that I think it's a waste of time. But it's top-up business, low margin. C2, the C2 contracts are low margin unless the data, the monthly data is high margin, but we don't have any evidence of that. Railtown is all high margin and growing. So that's kind of how I get worked up. I'm not, I think it's a good question, but now we only have 30 minutes, as far as I know, to buy Railtown. Because tomorrow could be the day that they say, we've finished it, and the stock opens at $2. And that's what I'm racing against, David. That's what I'm racing against. It's about trying to make money, and I'm trying to get people to have as many units of Railtown before that happens. And then we can revisit finger motion. But right now, there's going to be just staring in front of everybody is a way to make money. And hanging with finger while Railtown goes from 25 cents to $5, I mean, it's loyalty, and that's me. I've done that in my life. But you're not going to change your account size. And right now, that woman who could have purchased 10,000 shares, actually it was closer to 12,000, but let's just say 10,000 shares of Railtown, because it was like 27 cents or something. If she sold her 1,000 shares of finger now at 2,000, she can only buy 3,000 shares. So that's why I've been urgent. Finger at 350, you could convert 1,000 shares into 11, 12,000, let's call it 10,000 of Railtown. Now you can convert it into 3,300 shares of Railtown. So just waiting those 2 weeks, everything changed. And 10,000 shares of Railtown, as I said then, could be 50 grand in 2 weeks. And it can be 200 grand, 250 grand. I don't know, 90 days, end of the year. Where's finger going to be? Where's finger going to be? So that's why it's just harsh. It's harsh reality. But, you know, everybody makes their own decision. If you want to stay with finger, at least I know I've hammered it home. That's all. I like the team at Finger. I like what they're doing. And we've been through that story. Now I've just spent 15 minutes on it. And we've got 30 minutes for people to buy Railtown before it goes to 60 cents. Where's Ham? I last heard he was in Las Vegas, but I don't know. If you want to follow him, the best place to follow him is on Twitter. Just search by finger motion, and you'll find him there. And he has conference calls. He works very hard. He keeps you informed on Finger, on G-Bucks, on several other stocks. So the best place to intersect, if that's the word, with him is on Twitter. So you can find him there. What exchange sells Railtown? Well, it's over the counter in the United States. It's the Toronto in Canada. It's a Canadian company. It trades under the symbol RAIL in Canada. But be careful, there's a national train company that has that same symbol on a different exchange. So Railtown Technologies in Canada trades, I think it's .cn, RAIL.cn. But in the United States, they started trading on the over-the-counter last year under the symbol RLAIF, RLAIF. And that is an over-the-counter parallel listing to the Canadian listing. Anyway, it's over the counter right now. I don't expect it to be on the over the counter much longer. When I use these terms, I don't know. Maybe it's next year, but I would imagine by the time this is finished, Railtown is either bought by one of the bigger companies, or it trades on, I hope not, but it trades on the NASDAQ or on the New York Stock Exchange. I hope it's the New York Stock Exchange. That's the natural place that it would go as it gets bigger. Hey, Donna. Wow, Donna. I'm going to have to set up the meetings and sit off to one side while you guys run everything. You're all going to be rich. When I bought, wow, you got a good price, Justin, 50 cents. Well, 51 cents. Frank said he bought 100,000 today at 51 cents. I don't believe it. I don't think he has any money, but maybe he did. Good for him. Good for him. He wants to be on your side. So when he's paid to be an IR guy at some schlock firm, his buddies at the Kramers or at Lynn Partners or elsewhere, I don't even know about, can do a financing. He gets a kickback. He'll get stock. When the stock starts rallying, he'll sell the stock into the rally, and he's well off. But anyway, he wants to be everybody's buddy. I wouldn't fall for it, but if you fall for it, you're a better man than I, Gunga Din. Andy Rose, 90,000. There is a rose in Spanish Harlem. Zizu, 8K. All right. I like this. This is better. This is better than MAGA. This is better than rooting for the Lakers. All right. Bob S., you convinced me. Wow, Bob. You guys are all going to be, I'm going to come wash your cars or shine your shoes. It'll make me happy. You guys will be well off. It'll make, where is this? Oh, there it is. Yes, I agree. Ted Williams, I agree. Justin, bunch of shorts in rail. Yeah, it'll be a cash settlement. What they do, it's securities entitlements. We don't, they need to disclose it to us, but they don't. But they'll just do a reconciliation and there'll be a big transfer of cash. If there is a squeeze before everything coming down, yes, in a sense, we may have to. Anyway, let's worry about that after they conclude their transaction. So, maybe later this week or next week or the final week. Danielle, 21,000. All right. I think that name is a pretty powerful name, Wissington. I've never seen it before, but it's a good name. It's a good, strong name. All right, 21,000 shares. Bob S. was in at 55. Well, now it's 58. It's not gonna give you many chances. That's gonna frustrate people. And you know who today made more money than he made last month? Is Steve. Steve is up 90. He's up 100 grand today. Steve is. I'm never talking to him again. Oh, 1,000, 3,000. Oh, I see. Okay, I got you. I did misunderstand, but that's fantastic. Nothing goes up straight up forever, but it will right now. It will right now, in my judgment. Kryptonian. Good for you, Kryptonian. That's a good number. That's a good number. All right, here's all these prices. Does this mean let's go, Brandon? Let's go, Brandon. Oh, there, you said it. Let's go, Brandon. I just scrambled to move funds. Good. I hope you can do it today. Colby, or tomorrow, or Wednesday, or Thursday. But I just don't know how much time is left. But even if it suddenly is $1, I still think it's worth buying. If it's $2, I think it's worth buying. It's headed higher. It's headed to a new price. So, oh, good. You have a buy order in. Good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Andy Rose, 98,000 and counting. There is a rose in Spanish Harlem. Well, David's been a really good friend of this audience for, I don't know, 3 years. And I think his question was a fair question. I do. I've just been trying to focus so much on Railtown. I never thought we'd have this 3 weeks to buy it. Each day I thought it'd be the last day. I still feel that way. And I didn't mind David's question at all, Sparky. I'm not sure I answered it well, but I did. Colby. That's great, Colby. 850 is great. You're going to be happy whatever you have. I'm telling you. Where do I see it going to? Railtown? I think Railtown is going to 10x from here. Now the price is higher, so I have to say $6. But that's the target I'm projecting, is that in the short run, whether it's a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, Railtown goes to $6. And it's trading at 60 cents. I might have to raise it to $7, but I'm comfortable with that. Anything 10x from here, I think is happening. After that, I think that'll become the new starting gate for the stock. And so then as we move forward with information, new investors, after that, I see it going, if it goes to 7, I'd still be willing to say there's 10x ahead. in terms of it going to $70, but it'll take time. It'll take 18 months, 2 years, whatever. But then I wouldn't be as sure. You know, when it was 30 cents or 35 cents, I could say it at 10x, then 10x, and then 10x. Because I think it's possible that a buyout by one of the big companies could be in the $200, $300, $400 a share range. But we're not there yet. That's months, if not 2 or 3 years down the road. So as information comes in, we'll be able to think about that. But when you're at Microsoft or in NVIDIA, you can spend your currency is your shares. So you're not spending cash. And in fact, when on the video that Corey Brandolini talked about is a year old. He said that they're in with Microsoft and GitHub is owned by Microsoft. Now he said I don't know the full sentence here. What I wrote down is bundled in with apps in GitHub. And I think what he was talking about is getting Conductor bundled in with the GitHub apps. Well, GitHub, that people pay a monthly amount for that. Well, imagine if Microsoft suddenly, maybe Microsoft buys them. It could be NVIDIA, it could be any of these. But let's just say it's Microsoft buys them. And then Microsoft pays a high price. Ridiculous. You think, oh my gosh, they'd never pay hundreds of dollars a share. But maybe they're in a bidding war with NVIDIA and they pay for it. But then to create value, they increase the revenue attributable to Conductor by making it mandatory in all their GitHub clients' monthly payouts. So they control their own valuation. It's hard to explain, but if they can jump I'm making these numbers up, if they can jump the usage monthly of Conductor from 100,000 users to whatever's GitHub, 10 million. It's a theory. The numbers aren't right. 10 million at, I don't know, $10 a month, $5 a month. And then you put a multiple on that. Microsoft can almost pay whatever they want and then create the value they want for it by making it mandatory to all the GitHub users, for example. But we'll find out more if that even happens. But Zany, right now I see it going. It's 60 cents right now, 59.5 cents. I'll say $6. I see it going to $6 in the next 2 weeks to 2 months. And then we'll go from there. Account settings, Ted Williams. Focus on the cross. I like that name. Is it the focus? I was going to ask something, but I won't. 650. Scott got in with 2,000. All right. I thought I wrote you down. Maybe I didn't, so I'll write you down again. Volume is strong, focus on the cross. Yeah, I heard there's an institutional guy. I don't know who it is. It's just a friend of mine talking to me. But an institutional guy who has an indicator that he uses on stocks. And he said, according to his whatever computerized mechanism, that Railtown has been in accumulation phase, strong accumulation since November. And according to this guy, it's about to break out. So you may be right on that. The stock right now is 60 cents. Gosh. Congratulations, everybody. I'm so proud of you, including David owns some. I'm so proud of you that you bought it. I really am. G-Bucks is 230 as we come to the close, up 5 cents. Tesla is down $20, 294. Wolf with an O, WOLF, that Lion told you about, is up $1.25 basically, 241. But how long does it stay up? Who knows? Finger is down 11 at 197. And I don't have G-Bucks. Let me bring it. Oh, no, I do. But let me I just got notice of something that I want to share. Wolf filed for bankruptcy, WOLF. And it's the BBY. I got to look it up. But if it's BBY, that's just a trap. They want you to put your money in it, and they're going to suck it all out. Stay away from WOLF. And anybody that recommended it is working with the bad guys. Remember that. Don't think these people are good nicks, because they're not good nicks. And I'm not saying I'm a good nick, but I want to be. I'm a wannabe in the good nick area. Sheila D. Sheila D. That should be a song. Sheila D. Yay, 1,000 shares. There should be a song about Sheila D. Lawrence Dima, great. I'm going to give you an updated total tomorrow when I come on. What a day. Djokovic won, and you guys own a lot of shares. I'm so happy for all of you. And I already give my Jennifer disclosure? I should give it. I have no contract with Railtown or AIP. I haven't received shares or compensation, and just to let you know. Now it's bidding 59. Maybe that's the pullback. Who was the gentleman that said would it pull back? It went to 60 cents, and now it's 59.81. That might be the pullback. Look at the volume. Do you see the volume today? Focus on the cross. 1,660,000 shares. 1,670,000 shares of Railtown. And oh, by the way, Frank Benedetto's hearing some good things. I hear things. I hear things. I'm so proud of you guys getting in. I'm so proud of everybody. Sheila D. I got Sheila D's. And thank you, Sheila. That's awesome. And Lawrence Demena. I got you, Lawrence. I got you, babe. And Original Planksta. Oh, he would never let you hug him. I know that, unless he asked you to. But that's a dog to hug. What a great guy. That's a boxer, I think. Original Planksta. $700. Awesome. So now it's 58.4, 1,000 to buy, but the ask is 59.07, and Now they're lowering it. So maybe they're going to try to have a little pullback at the end of the day. Let me just see what the volume is in Canada. In Canada, RAIL dot, no, that's Canadian National Railway. It's not what I want. There it is, 79 cents. And the volume in Canada is 1.864 million shares. So it's not our doing. It's not our doing. That's a lot of stock, guys. I guess they didn't hear Tony Dinero's video. These guys buying. I mean, that guy, Tony, has a lot of credibility. I mean, I would think people at OMERS, the Ontario Municipal Employees Retirement System, people at Goldman Sachs, people at Canaccord, the insiders at Railtown, John Ruffalo, one of the guys behind Constellation Software, I would think they would want to spend some time and really listen to Tony Dinero, because that guy, when he speaks, people listen. He just oozes sincerity and truthfulness. And you know what else he uses? Hard work. You know he's gone through the documents and he's made the phone calls. He's gone through the presentations and the news releases of Railtown. He's taken time to understand AI 2.0. That's the good thing about old Tone Hun. He demand. Here might be the pullback. 0.574 to 5877. They have 90,000 shares to sell. Nobody's selling 90,000 shares. That's corruption, and the SEC does nothing about it because the SEC is bought and paid for by the criminals. And the young ones that come in, they want a job at the law firm, Gibson Dunn, who is bought and paid for by the criminals. Or they want, the older SEC people want to spin out like Gary Gensler and get a job on the board at Goldman Sachs. They don't want to rock the boat here. But this is criminal, the selling. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They can't hurt this stock. They cannot hurt this stock. They can have fun for 10 minutes, but it's not going to change the end result. This train is a coming. You better get on board. The train a coming. Oh, I got pig iron. I got all pig iron. Well, I fooled you. I fooled you. Orange Blossom Special. It's just the Orange Blossom Special. Yeah, Sheila D, I'm just like you. I have 4,229 shares of MMTLP that I paid $7.97 for, $8 basically, and I don't have any of that money. And I get, Sheila, sorry my voice is going up. I get annoyed. There's, in the middle of the night, I can think about it. I go, darn it, I wish I had that money, because I'd be buying Railtown, much more Railtown. I think of other situations in my life, other things that happened to me. I think, damn, I wish I had that money. But instead, what I tell myself is, even though it's, these guys are massive, but for me, I have a small, it's in my IRA, it's a small, relatively small position, but I'm just grateful for it. I'm just grateful for it, Sheila. Whatever you have, and we might have to wait months, a year and a half, but the Railtown will make small accounts big accounts, relatively big accounts. And at that point, you can do other things. Or, as I have a feeling, we're not going to want to sell Railtown. They'll sell the company, and we'll get stock of, I don't know, of Tesla, or stock of Apple or something. And that'd be a nice position to be in. But that's what could happen. That's what could happen. Hey, Jason Harbinson. Let me write that down. Thanks for letting me know. That's great. 20,000 is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful position. The lesson to be learned is patience. Well, middle ground, your last point's a good one. The video I watched about these financial guys who happened to be Jewish, they intentionally, I'll try to find it. They intentionally made that the title of their own video. It might have been a rabbi, I can't remember, that did it. Anyway, that's the other thing. Don't do every deal. Turn down a lot of deals. All right, closes at 58 cents. So anybody that paid 60 cents, they want you to go home feeling like you did the wrong thing. You didn't. 60 cents, 58 cents, all the same thing. It's all the same thing. This is something you want to own. The ask now is 65 cents. And the volume today, 1.75 million. Fantastic. What I think about the 60 cents, let me show you if I have it here. Oh, wow. They changed all this. I like it. They're getting better. It's getting better all the time. I used to get mad at my woman. I kept her apart from the things that she loved. Man, I was mean. See that yellow line there on Railtown? Right above it is 60 cents. And that, to me, that yellow line, I said the other day, could be a little bit of a pause because of all that trading there underneath 60 cents. And then, of course, 60 cents. But I also said I didn't think it's going to be much of a hurdle to get through there, because I think all the weak hands had by now sold out. But anyway, that's what I think's happening right now. Huge volume today, and we're just trying to get through that, where that yellow line is. It looks like there were a few days, even a week or so, of trading in the high 50 cents. It peaked at 62, I think. And so that's just a little bit of resistance. It's okay. It's the pause for the cause. And it's all right. It's all right now, my mama. It's all right by me. Wow, Kryptonian. Wow, Kryptonian. I do remember that. I didn't buy it, but that's amazing. That's amazing. Good job. All right, autumn. The autumn wind comes flowing in from across the sea. It lingers there. It touched your hair. Come walk with me. All summer long, we sang a song and we walked hand in hand. The summer wind, oh, the summer wind. Thank you, Autumn. I'm glad you bought Wheaton and physical silver. I'm glad you've done that. That's great. We'll get back to that. I haven't lost my interest in all that. I've just been trying to be absolutely clear that I want everybody to consider Railtown. DB 45,482. That's amazing. It's amazing. I'm not going to disclose my network or any specific. It's not fair to anyway. I'll take journalistic privilege. No, I didn't see it, so don't tell me. Don't tell me what happened. I'll look it up. I'll watch it. The summer wind. The F-bomb. I shouldn't do that. I worked on Wall Street. I hung out with people that used that word liberally, and it changed my vocabulary. For the better, many would argue. Anthony T. Good job, Anthony. You can always revisit that. David added, that's great, David. Added 4K. That's great, David. Congratulations. By the way, Jeffrey Epstein had no clients. He never blackmailed anyone, and he killed himself, and he didn't work for Israel. All right, let me, what was I going to look up? Oh. Okay, so, all right, original plank stuff is now, okay, I added it. That's a great job. Now I'm going to try to show you something. Oh, my boy, I miss him so much. 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 I miss my boy so much. You know how those pictures show up? I miss my boy so much. All right, I'm going to show you guys something. I just got these numbers for the USA. Oh no, I don't want that. How do I? They've changed how to do this. Darn it. This is an overlay. Darn it, darn it, darn it. See, I hate when they change things because then I don't know how to do it. Add file. Okay. I see. It's so complicated. All right. I'm going to show you this. This is the updated total. The squeeze point is 35 cents. This is RLAIF, updated daily short volume, and that's as of 7/2, 41 million. Now, I will admit that I've come to believe these numbers maybe aren't as powerful as they imply, so maybe some of that is offset. I don't know, but that's a pretty darn big number. 41 million shares with a float of about 100 million. I wrote it down what the float is. Sorry for the noise of the paper. Sorry, I forgot that the microphone picks up all this noise. I forgot that. Almost done. I'll find it. Maybe I won't find it. Let's see what the float is. Anyway, I don't know. I can't find the. I think the float's about 100 million shares. But anyway, that's a huge amount. Tommy B. I don't know how many now, DB, Tommy B. Wow. All right, let me write that down. I'm going to have to add it all in, but before this phone call, this is how many we owned. Where did I put that piece of paper? This is what we owned before today's call. 5,526,265, 3.85%, and it was about 105 people. It's more now. So I'll update this for tomorrow. And it's very exciting. I'm really pleased with the action that you guys are taking. I think you'll be pleased with it. You know, it won't be. It's not like you're going to need me to tell you. All right, so it's 4:11. I don't know what else to talk about. Tomorrow, I'll come on maybe early, or maybe at lunchtime. If unless even if it is trading at $1 or something, tomorrow I'll still come on. I think it'll still be cheap, but I'll have this number, and we'll go through it. If anybody has any questions, I'll wait a second to see if anybody comes up with anything. Otherwise, I think I'll sign off and wish everybody peace and a good evening. And let's pray for peace in the world. I'll give that a second and just see if there's any headline that alarms. Could Bitcoin replace the dollar? Let's save that for tomorrow. Did you see the Nationals fired the manager? It's not cool. It's not cool. All right. It doesn't look like there's going to be any questions. So I'm going to sign off and thank you for being here. Thank you for acting. You're going to be quite content shortly. And we'll keep at it until we know. And until tomorrow, take care.